Hey guys, it's Roland Rockshop again. As you can see, I've got my twin hammers torn down. I went ahead and took the whole cage off just to make it easier to get to everything, and I'm going to have to get to the tranny anyway, so might as well take it off. Got everything taken apart now. I'll take off the shock, unscrew it from the cantilever, unscrew your cantilever and the A-arm, pull it out, and remove the shock brace. And this plate goes on there just like so. And you have the option of reinstalling the inline cantilever shock setup or going with the new shock tower piece. Which we will have to remove these two pins here sticking up the cantilever arms in order for that to work. And to get this front steering rack off, what you're going to have to do is to remove 4 screws to remove this whole front section, because the screws you need are in from the back side there to take it off. So we'll flip this over to make it easier. See the 2 screws right here and here. This is what holds the old steering on. We'll just remove those. You also need to remove your ball stud from the old steering setup as well, so you can reuse it on the new Double D steering kit. It's all the best things start with Double D. Alright, since we got the front end down, we're going to go ahead and swap out this locker. My cheap mod, whenever I first got the twin hammers, they didn't have the locker out yet as an upgrade. So what I did was kind of redneck. I used 2 trim carpenter staples, 2 steel trim carpenter staples, and wedged them in the spider gears to lock it up essentially. It's held up so far. I've been running 3S power on it. They haven't broke. There's not really any slop. So let's tear it open and see just how wore out, if wore out at all, it is. As you can see here, this is the inside of the differential. You can see my 2 trim staples as they're wedged into each spider gear. And then when the top gear goes down on top of it, it compresses it into the other gears, thus locking it in place. But out with the old and in with the new. Alright, I got the front diff taken apart. As you can see, you'll need to remove the big sun gear. It just pops out. And they give you some replacement pins to use with it. Just gonna clean that off just a little bit. It's off the inside of the gear. You see, the replacement ones are a lot longer for more engagement on the locker. take the old cross shaft out of the open diff, slide it through the centerpiece. As you can see, the locker's got open ends. Oops. And those will slide right over the end of that, thus locking it in place. As you can see, these old cross shafts have a notch cut out, so that will be the weak spot. You could get you some piano wire of the same diameter, cut it to length, and reinstall it, and it should work just fine. Having the right tools makes the job that much easier. Get the right tools. Don't do something and cuss your way all the way through something. Get the right tools. Now, we just gotta line up our holes for the gasket. And reinstall. And there you have it, nice and locked up. I'll button this up and then get back onto it. Alright, we got the diff gear back in place, now it's time to grease it. I like using this Grim Racer speed grease. It's for boats, so it's waterproof. It's non-sling, so it's very thick, and it's only $3 for that big old jar. And I've done 2 trannies and 3 axles with it so far, and I've barely touched it. Good bang for the buck. Alright guys, got the tranny out, got it drilled. You can see, I don't know if you can see it or not, there is a hole through the shaft now, as well as I had to drill out one side of the drive cup. You will need a pin set screw, like in the axial wild bore drive shafts, a 3/32 drill bit, and be very careful not to hurt yourself cross drilling the shaft there. And once you do all of that, should have nice pinned shaft that will not come loose, just like so. Now to reinstall. Alright ladies and gents, this is the complete setup. Here's your bushing, spacer, washer, nut. This is the driver's side, passenger side, and it goes on just like your old one. Throw that across. Make sure we got clearance on the servo. We do. Don't forget to take off your old ball stud. You won't need to go through there. Alright guys, got it pretty much buttoned up. You can see the shock tower there. This uses 90 to 95 millimeter shocks. These are 70. Of course they're going to be a little short, as you can see. That'll give you the gist of how the shocks are going to lay. The thing that you'll notice is, screws are hitting the top plate. Put the screw head down, nut it from the bottom, that way it'll slide underneath there. So I'm going to have to redo that real quick. Just thought I'd forewarn you guys that are getting these, you'll have to put the nut on the bottom. There we go. All the screws are on the top side. There's lots more travel out of it now. Only thing I am getting is on the top part of the chassis plate. There's just, just a hair bit of rubbing on it from the bolt being just that little bit too long. Just rubbing just right about in there. Ain't nothing, a little bit of a file or a little Dremel grinding will take care of. That's tons better. No slop. Solid. Stiffen up the front end. Alright guys, that's it. All we have to do now is to remove these X braces here. Clip those out. Trim them up with a Dremel. Mark your hood. Go ahead and cut out the holes. That's a little rough, but we'll trim it up and make it look nice and neat once we get our shocks in place. But that is it. These are the 2 extra screws and washers, spacers for the shocks on the top. On the A-arms, you will have to enlarge the hole just a little bit with the Dremel, according to which rod end your shock has. I'm going with the RC 4-wheel drive King shocks, and I'm told that you're going to have to open up the shock mounting hole on the A-arm just a little bit. So as soon as I get those shocks in, we'll get those installed and get those knuckles and caster blocks installed, and we'll take it for a test run and see how she does. Thanks for watching.